Hello there, welcome to Eosacro. This video is about editing channels inside of Nuke. So please note that this video is about basic edits, the most higher level edits that you can do, instead of all the basic manipulations that you do to get like fine-tune your composite. So before I get into Nuke and start working with the nodes itself, I wanted to give you a brief introduction to the different edits that you can do inside this canvas itself, and then get into Nuke. So to start with, let's take a brief tour about what we have done previously. We have already understood that channels are nothing but paths in which information flows. So this is the most basic thing we have already learned. So instead of actually always talking about information, I'm going to use the analogy of the flow of water so that it's easier to understand. So let's begin. Let's say there is a path in which water is flowing and it's going in this direction right now. So there are several things I can actually do to this path. So let's see all the edits or all the things I can do to the path, and that's basically all the stuff I can do to channels inside of Nuke. So if water is actually flowing, I can apply a block in the path, and because of the block the water no longer flows, or in other terms, I just deleted the channel this way after the block, so the water is no longer flowing, or the information is no longer available downstream. So that is one thing, I just deleted one channel. Apart from that, now if the water is flowing, I can split it apart. I can create two or more channels, sub-channels if you might want to know, out of this one main channel. That is one more thing I can do. At the same way, I can take two or more channels which are coming in and merge them together to create one master channel, right? So I have these channels which are coming in and I'm merging them together to create a master channel. So I was able to split them apart or combine them. One more extra thing I can do is divert channels. So diversion, by what I mean by diversion is, if a path is coming in, I can actually divert it to move somewhere else, but not downstream. So I can take a channel and move it somewhere else. I can even put it back in the, just move it back to where it was starting from, so it might be a loop. So whatever. So these are some of the basic edits. I can block the channel, I can split it, I can merge it, I can divert it. So let's get into Nuke and see how exactly we can perform these operations over there now. Okay, so I'm inside Nuke right now, and as you can see, I've got a couple of things prepared. I created these things in the previous recording, and it kind of got screwed up. Actually, it kept getting screwed up around 4 to 5 times because I'm kind of sleep deprived. Anyway, that's a different matter altogether. So I had these things prepared, and I thought it'll be easier to finish the video faster instead of me trying to recreate the whole thing from the beginning. So I've tried to lay this out in an easy manner, in the same way that I had sketched it out on the canvas. So to begin with, here I'm removing things, here I'm adding things, here I'm showing you how to divert things and continuing the different ways of doing it, and then at the same time I'll be showing you in the end how to merge things. So let's get started from the leftmost corner. And one thing to note, all the operations that I'm doing, the nodes to perform these can be found under this channel section. So the first one I'm looking at is the remove. So this image you have already seen previously. Let me just open it up in the viewer so you get a better look at it. I don't need the time slider or the controls. I'll just close these guys out. And this is the image that we previously had. The reason that I'm using this EXR file is because I've already set it up to have a lot of layers or channel sets. So you can see that there are different informations which are being passed into it. So as you can see, it has a lot of things, and what I want to do is basically get rid of a couple of channels. So for that reason, I have this remove node plugged into it, and what this remove node has inside it is that it's telling it that the operation is remove, and I have told that the channels I want to remove are the depth channel, the plane ambient occlusion, and the sphere ambient occlusion channels. So because these channels have been told to be removed, you can also just make a note here that here on this tile I have these channel indicators. I have the RGBA alpha and then this purple color one, which is the depth channel. Because I've told the channel depth has to be removed, you can see that it no longer exists on this remove node. So anyway, it's supposed to be removed. I'll just go plug this remove into the viewer, and as soon as I do that, nothing pretty much changes in the viewer by default. So let's see the channels to see what happened. If I open this up, you can see that none of these channels, the depth, plane ambient occlusion and sphere ambient occlusion, are there inside the list. But if I go to the other channels, you can see it's inside there. That basically means I just deleted these channels. So anytime you want to get rid of a channel in a workflow or in a pipeline, just add in a remove node, set up the channel here, and it gets removed, and you no longer have it down the chain. So we know how to remove a channel. Now let's look at adding channels. I'll just go disconnect this from here and connect it back to the image over here. So as you can see, I still have the same image, but I have told that I want to add channels over here at the bottom. So let me just open up this add channels. You can see that it's telling that the channels being added are motion channels, correct? So I'm going to connect it to the viewer in the second input. Okay, somehow my keyboard shortcut's not working. Let me just go to the add channel, and now let's see a couple of things which happen. As we have already seen that the tile has the channel indicators at the bottom, and it had the depth, which got removed by the remove indicator because we removed it here. But by add channel, I just added in the motion UV channels, and because of that directly I got this magenta, cyan, yellow and white channels which are visible. So basically, if I open this up, you can see that I have this new channels called motion, backwards and forwards, which were not there previously. So I'm removing channels and adding channels. Now apart from this, we can also copy channels. This is one of the most important things. This is what I mean by diverging channels. So let's actually look at this. So I was trying to change the bounding box here because previously I kind of connected this to a different node, but then during the video I disconnected it, but still it's taking in the background size information. So I'll just delete this and add in a new one. So selecting this, K is a shortcut to add it in. So it's added in. I'll connect the first input to it, so it's in the proper size. So now the main use of having a copy node is that it copies channels from one channel set to another, or basically one channel to another. So the way you can go about doing it is you select channel you actually want copied, and you then select the channel you want it copied to. So let's actually look at this now. Let's say I just analyze this image for a second. Let's say that whatever is there in the depth channel, I want this depth channel to be transferred into the alpha channel, which is completely flat right now. So to do that, the channel copy node is the best thing to use. So I'll go into the channel copy. I'll tell that the channel that I want is actually the depth channel. Sorry about that, it's connected to the B pipe. I want it connected to the A pipe, or else I'll not see the channels here. So I need the depth channel, which is to come in. So I'm selecting the depth channel, and I'm telling that it has to be transferred to the RGBA alpha. So by doing that, you can see here that my depth channel is immediately transferred to my RGBA alpha. But right now my size is again gone. I kind of forgot. So I'll just connect the B channel also to the image itself, so it's of the right size. So here you can see, just by using the simple node, I was able to get an alpha channel from the depth channel. So if I go back to my RGBA, I go to my alpha, I have an alpha channel. So as easy as that, I can copy one channel to another. I can select any channel in here and get it transferred to any channel inside here. So basically I'm taking a channel here and changing it into that. I can do that for 4 channels here. So the reason you have this 4 is because one can be red, green, blue and alpha. So I can select and do the same there. So that's the reason you usually have 4 operators every single time inside Nuke. It's because it goes RGBA. Okay, so you know how exactly to copy channels over here, but sometimes you just can't use copy channels directly. You might need to copy channels between 2 different images. In such a case, the kind of node you want to use is called shuffle copy. You can go under here and you can find shuffle copy, which is the second node here. So what shuffle copy does is, if you have any number of images, over here we have 2 images, or basically 2 inputs, we can start shuffling channels between them. We can change channels from the input 1 or input 2 or any one to another. So basically this goes different ways, and it's one of the most confusing nodes for newcomers to Nuke. So let's just see how this works. I'll try to go as basic as possible here. So to look at this, I'll just make it default here. The top portion gives you the inputs, the right side gives you the outputs. The way it works is, the input is the channel set, the same channel set you select over here, and then at the bottom the RGBA are the 4 different channels which you're going to select inside of it. The 4 channels then get transferred on to whichever channel you want here on the right side. So basically you have 2 inputs, so you have 2 RGBA inputs coming in and then 2 outputs. You can choose how many ever you want. So let's see how this works. So here the input is set to be RGBA from the channel 1 or the input 1. So that means from this read node I'm getting in RGBA 1 into this shuffle matrix. From input 2 I'm getting RGBA, which is this checkerboard, into this shuffle matrix, and then I want to create a single RGBA output using these 2 images. So let's understand the images a little bit better. This image has RGBA and this one also has RGBA, but let's just say that I wanted only the red and green information from this image EXR file, but I wanted the blue information from the checkerboard file. So in such a case, shuffle copy is the way I would go. So now I want the red and green to come in from input 1 RGBA, but whereas I want the blue not to come from this blue channel, but I want it to come in from the second input's blue channel. So I'll go turn on the blue over here, which immediately turns it off over there. So now basically what happened is, I'm still getting the red channel and the green channel, which are going into the accurate red and green channels over here, but the blue channel is no longer coming in from the first input, it's coming in from the second input and going in. So let's say that I wanted alpha channel also. If I go into the alpha channel here, you can see it's completely blank, because alpha channel over here is coming in from the alpha here, which is pure white. So let's just say that I wanted alpha channel to be the spheres matte. So what I can actually do is connect it to the spheres matte, but here I don't have the option. But what I do have the option of is using a channel which is here. So I'll go to the second input and the second output over here and tell that the alpha channel which I want is supposed to be coming in from the RGBA input for the checkerboard, and I want the blue channel to be the alpha, and immediately I have the blue channel set up as the alpha channel for this image. So as simple as that, I was able to shuffle between channels and change the output so easily. So this is one of the most important things about shuffle copy or the shuffle node. You take in a specific channel, you give the output to a different channel, and this is very useful, especially when working with HDR or EXR files with multiple channels. So the main way of using it is to combine different channels together in a single stream. Next, apart from that, I want to split images, and for the same thing I can use the shuffle node once more. The way I'm going to use shuffle node over here is that over here I have this 2 shuffle nodes, and each one is doing a specific operation. The first thing is, both of them are giving me RGB outputs, RGB or RGBA, both of them are giving me RGB outputs, but the input is a single channel set. So here it's taking the plane reflection channel set, and here it's giving the spherical reflection channel set, and both are going into the RGBA channel sets. So what that means is that I'm just taking this image which has some reflection information, I'm passing it out as RGBA information over here, and over here again I'm taking the same plane reflection information and passing it out again as RGBA. So what happened here is, if I'm looking at this image directly, the RGBA is giving me this spherical information, but when I shift to this, that same RGB information is now turned and now it's giving me the reflections on the sphere, and when I go to this, it gives me the reflections on the plane. So basically I swapped my RGB channels with the sphere reflections and plane reflections, right? So very easy thing to use to split a single image which is coming into different streams, so you can work with them. So that is one of the best uses of the shuffle node. So as you can see, both this merging and splitting can be done using a shuffle node. Next, the last thing is a very unique thing which you can do with channels, not something which you usually tend to do, but something which I definitely recommend you get used to, which is called the channel merge. What happens here is you're actually merging two channels, or actually the same thing as copying two channels that we did here, but instead of just copying them once and leaving them there, you can actually do some blend modes with them. So if you already have worked with Photoshop, you know the multiply, screen, hard light, pin light, the different blend modes which you get. So here you get to work with blend modes on channels. So let's actually shift over to this for a second. As you can see, I'm looking at the RGBA information and I'm actually getting the background information which is coming in from here. I'll open up the channel merge. I'll just reset this. Okay, can't reset it completely. So anyway, so what happens here is you get some channel from channel A, or the input A, you get some channel from input B, and then you apply an operation on both of them and output the information as the different channel altogether. So I have the sphere's ambient occlusion which is coming in. So let's look at the sphere's ambient occlusion, and as you can see, I don't have the channel over here. So what I'll do is actually look at the original. So sphere's ambient occlusion is over here. Then I have the B channel's RGBA alpha. So I have to go to the B channel and I'll go to the RGBA alpha. So RGBA, I'll just go to the alpha channel, and you can see it's pure white, right? So I have one image which has some spheres information and another image which has pure flat alpha inside it, and the operation I'm running on them is called a stencil. What a stencil basically does is that it takes the information which is over here, reverses it, and then multiplies it on top of this. So basically anything which is white over here now turns into black, and anything which was black turns into white. Simple as that. So now I have this thing happening and the output is set to be depth Z. So let's actually go to depth and see the output. I'll just go shift over to the depth, and I have to be over here in channel merge to observe it. So if I open this up, I have the depth channel, I switch over to it, and I'm not seeing anything because I'm in the alpha. I just need to be in the RGBA, and you can see the output. So what's happening is, you already saw the sphere's ambient occlusion, and sphere's ambient occlusion, there was white at the top and black at the bottom. Let me just shift it over to the red channel so I can see it exactly. So it was actually basically the reverse of whatever you're seeing here. So it basically reversed this information and multiplied it on top of this information and fed it into the depth Z information. So it's basically like I took two layers, stacked them on top of each other, and added a blend mode in between. So that's channel merge. It's okay if you don't understand this channel merge, the last part, but the main thing over here is understanding the shuffle. And the other main thing is basically you can manipulate channels as how much ever you want and however you want. So the main thing is you just need to understand that channels are the most important parts of Nuke that you want to start manipulating and working with. I told you the most important nodes that you need to work with channels, so you know what shuffle does, You know what shuffle copy does, you know what copy does, you know what merge does, and you also can add and remove channels. So these are the most important nodes that you need to understand if you want to work with channels. And pretty much this is the majority of the stuff I wanted to do today. The video has already gone too long, and this is the 5th recording that I've done. I really hope you guys didn't sleep, because I most definitely need to go take a nap now. So I really hope you guys found this video useful. Just give me any feedback you have about this, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching this one.